All right, welcome back to episode 55 of The Bench, and tomorrow Squishy's got a deadline for me. He said that I have to be done with a tier list ranking all the DPS in Mythic Plus, but I believe that Blizzard's not done doing class tuning. Discuss, Squishy.
Well, people want to see a tier list, and you're the one. You're the best one for the job, surely, right?
If I'm the best one for the job, we got to get more people on the job, I fear. What's up, Growl? How's your week been, buddy?
It's been chill. It's been chill. I've been dabbling into some Mists of Pandaria Classic, leveling up my guy and learning the different mage specs and just kind of chilling.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time on PTR and I'm kind of getting burned out of it like I always do. So now I'm kind of like taking a break and chilling.
I saw an interesting tweet by JB, and with the launch of Mist of Pandaria Classic, I've actually seen this discussion point brought up more and more, where people are talking about, talent trees related to Mist of Pandaria versus retail. And JB tweeted out, he said, I admit I thought the Dragonflight talent tree revamp was cool. I was a big fan of all of the choices, but I was wrong. It's too much for the devs. I can't even blame laziness or understaffing. 1,000 people couldn't balance this. Now, especially with the hero trees, scale it way back, keep it manageable. As somebody who's playing MOP Classic right now, what are your kind of thoughts on the talent trees? Has it actually changed your opinion on this kind of thing? Where are you kind of landing on this stuff?
Oh, geez. I
feel like it's so commonly asked nowadays, now that more people are exposed to it with MOP.
We're starting off the yapping hard. We're
Yeah,
1 minute into the episode, and it's already time for a Growl filibuster. Oh, gosh, where do I start? So, first of all, I think it's funny talking about this off of the back of what I think was one of the most balanced seasons of all time in terms of Mythic Plus and Raid. Not that Blizzard couldn't do a better job, not that there weren't some specs neglected. I would say the balance last season was incredible. I think the Dragonflight talent trees are great for leveling. I think it's cool to like constantly make your guy power up. I actually like the MOP talent trees in terms of simplicity and explaining things and like just the choices that you have. Like a lot of the choices are so much more clear and you kind of like, I don't know, you open up your talent tree and you make decisions off of like, oh, do I want Cauterize, which is a cheat death, or do I want Ice Barrier, which is like a shield, that'll get more value and help more against rot fights, like whereas nowadays it just feels like everybody has everything. So in that regard, I do like the MOP talent trees better, or all the way up until BFA, right? Like that was the era for that talent tree, right? And I do kind of like those better just because the choices, like the trade-offs are much more clear. Like everybody hates this trade-off, right? Where you have to decide, do I bring group utility or do I get 4% more damage? And it's like everyone in your group wants you to bring the freaking stun or the whatever it is, the soothe or whatever, right? But you're just like, And then it leads to, it leads to like this weird scenario where like you want everyone else in your group to bring utility and then you bring damage. And I don't know, like it's an interesting trade-off, I think, when it comes to like solo content and more casual content. But when you get into like, especially pug high level group content or like even like mid-level stuff, like, heroic raids or like 12s, it becomes very, very frustrating to make those choices and trade-offs.
I mean, do you actually think that there are choices being made right now? Because I feel like that's one of the more interesting things. Like, I feel like whenever the Dragonflight talent tree revamp started, there actually was a decent amount of choices, but not for every single spec in every single class. And then whenever some had choices that they had to make, and some didn't, people got very mad about it. It's how it kind of felt.
No, yeah, choices. Also, I think it's definitely leading to the point of there's too many choices to the point where like you feel like you don't even understand your own tree enough, and it's like, like looking at certain DPS specs, like you have so many modifiers and things that overlap on other things and buff other things, and it's like it's really, really hard to theory craft unless you just don't really care about the results and you're just having fun. Like to try and come up with the best build, like you literally just need to run sims, right? Like how do you even understand any of these things on the tree and these trade-offs these nodes make,
Yeah. For me, like it's funny because I posted the screenshot. I was talking about this last week where I just said these talent trees are literally just the MOP ones, but more confusing. Because realistically, like I play a couple specs. I pretty much just net deck or just copy the class talent tree or the spec talent tree.
Yeah.
I don't think I touch those ever, like on any spec. But for the general tree, the class tree, yeah, there's probably some utility stuff that I change around every so often. Like an evoker, do you want the bleed dispel? Do you want a little more healing? Do you want deep breath stun? Like there's some choices that can be done there, and that's generally the case for a lot of specs as well. But the spec tree, I don't think many people do anything with that anymore. It's like choose how you want to do your damage, but that is a solved equation.
Yeah.
It's like if you play any like card game, you usually copy like the 80% or 90% of the deck that is fundamental to your deck, and then they have a sideboard where it's like pick 5 of these 10 cards based on what you want. And that's like what I feel like these talent trees are, and they can probably be reduced down to what is essentially utility
The
options.
5 points that you're making decisions
Yeah.
on.
Exactly, right? Like you could break it down into just the MOP tree. The thing, and again, I'm just dabbling into it, like I'm not super knowledgeable about MOP, but a lot of the decisions that you make in the talent tree feel like really, really intentional. Like, okay, here's a line that a mage has. Every mage in MOP will know this. There's a line with Living Bomb. One of the Living Bombs is really good on single target, but it's not good on AoE. The next Living Bomb is good on cleave. It's good, like it bounces around a little bit like a chain lightning. And then one of them is like an uncapped AoE bomb that like pretty much sucks on single target, but is really good if you're like mass pulling, right? That's it. Like that's the choice, right? You could literally be playing mage for 20 minutes and you can open that up and understand the choice that you're making and decide how you want to play as a mage. Whereas like that's not really how the current trees are. Like you can fixate on certain little choices, or if you're super knowledgeable you can make those choices, but for the most part you're like, okay, what's my M plus build, and then you just load up the M plus build from Wowhead or your favorite streamer or whoever linked it to you in your guild, right? And then that's it, and you like hardly even look at it or pay attention to it. It just like the mage community right now when it comes to Arcane is literally like just waiting around in the Discord for whoever the blessed mage theory crafter is to drop the new mage build, and then everyone just click copy, click paste, go into PTR and run it. And it's like, I don't really know if that's how talent trees are supposed to feel, right? Like it's supposed to feel like, oh, like what choices do I want to make? How do I want my character to feel? Not like, did you search on the internet and find the best build?
I was talking. It's so funny. I was talking on my stream about exactly this today. I brought up the fact that I felt like stats felt very similar to how you're also describing talents, where in the past, and I understand why they changed this. So I thought that stats were actually more interesting in the past, whenever there was more opportunities to do unique things with your stats. Where like in Legion, Fire Mage won a 34% crit because there was a crit breakpoint that they wanted to hit. Holy Paladin won a 51% crit because there was a crit breakpoint that wanted to hit. Shadow Priest and Moonkin both had, Surrender to Madness haste breakpoints for third Void Torrent. Moonkin had one with the Legendary where there was haste breakpoints on like being able to generate enough resources within a time period to be able to spin fast enough. Those things have largely gone away because Blizzard has deemed it to be too complicated for most players, which it's kind of, they're not wrong whenever they're saying stuff like that, but also to me, in my opinion, all stats kind of feel the same. Like I don't notice a difference between mastery or versatility or haste. I feel like to me, haste is the only effect that actually does anything. It's for some specs, it's cooldown reduction and cast speed reduction, so it feels a little bit different. But more often than not, I feel like most stats, if I'm playing with 50% crit or 20% crit, I wouldn't really notice the difference. It's just kind of like this number that's made up that my simulation craft has told me that I need. There's and there's stat DR penalties, but you don't interact with stat DR penalties. You just get less stats after a certain point. It's just like an invisible thing that you don't ever really think of. It's just some made up number that happens on a spreadsheet that, again, the Sims tell you not to go above that, but like I didn't know.
What do they, for some reason the word is failing me. What do they call it in bowling where you put, is it bumpers where you like put them in the gutters so like you can't miss?
Bumpers.
That's what the stats feel like currently, is like, okay, they just want you to be able to equip anything and use anything, and it's not that bad, right? Like you'll see small differences, but I don't know. See, I disagree with them saying that stats were complicated. Like even looking back I just feel like stats were much more intentional. So like, I'm sorry for continuously using mage MOP examples, but my knowledge base is limited of previous WoW. But so Fire Mage like loves crit. It just wants so much crit.
Exactly.
If your piece doesn't have crit, it sucks, right? And it's like, to me, that's not that complicated, right? Like, okay, every time you get a piece and you get a bunch of crit, it makes your gameplay feel a little better, and you feel good when you get a piece high crit. Like, okay, sometimes you might get a piece of loot that doesn't have crit on it, and it's like, oh, that's kind of a bummer, but it's like, I don't know, it's not really complicated or convoluted, It's just like, I feel like stats nowadays are so much more like, they just want every piece to be good for everybody, and if you can equip it, you just put it on, and that's it.
So to me, the reason that, at least in my opinion, the stats are too complicated argument fails is because people who are going to be willing to sim their character were already a more hardcore version of the player base. The people who aren't willing to sim their character don't care about stats anyways. They're just going to equip whatever item's the highest item level anyways. And that's not even a bad thing. There's no problem with doing that either. I think that if you start to believe that there's a problem with just blanket equipping the highest item level piece without thinking about the ramifications of secondary sets, yeah, maybe there's a problem. But I think that like once you really start to get into the minutia of it and like want things like stat breakpoints, like sure, it is a little bit more of a complicated game, but at least it would, in my opinion, hopefully it would make stats feel better than where they currently stand, where it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess I got a lot of mastery, it doesn't really do anything, it just makes me do a little bit more damage whenever I have mobs dotted. Like, cool.
Stats, I think, are more easier to understand than talents, in my opinion. Like, talents is the, like, sometimes when you have too much choice, it actually prevents choice, because you're just like, oh my god, like, I have so many, like, there's that meme of, like, the guy who opens the PoE skill tree for the first time, and, like, looks at the skill tree. It was just a massive, like, I don't even know how many nodes, but, like, that is what I almost think the WoW talent tree has turned into. But like stats, it's like, well, do I want to attack faster? Do I want to do more damage? Do I want to also do more damage? Or do I want to crit more? Like, those are pretty self-explanatory in my mind. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I just agree. Like, I just think stats are, like, it makes sense. Like, I don't think breakpoints necessarily are that complicated. And like Squishy said, if you're somebody who just literally cares so little that I'm not I'm not even going to look up what the hit breakpoint I need is for 100% hit. Like, okay, then who cares, right? Then it doesn't, why? If anything, I think the current system actually makes it harder for somebody who's like the average player, right? Who maybe doesn't want to run a bunch of, like, I would assume the average person who plays WoW is this, right? You care about your damage, like you want to look up, okay, would I need like this much crit, or is there a breakpoint? But you're not going to like sim every single iteration and look at every single talent, right? Like, what trinkets to get and what stats your character generally wants, but you're not like crazy in the weeds, right? And I feel like the current system is worse, right? Whereas the old system, I mean, it's an RPG, right? Like at some point there should be some, okay, you're using your brain and looking at your stats. And that's kind of why the talent system annoys me, is because I feel like the talent system is too complicated, so you can't really do that, right? Like, you can't really use your brain in the current Dragonflight talent system. You can in like some iterations, right? Like sometimes there's like, oh, do I need this spell in this dungeon, right? But when it comes to like your barrage does a 20% extra damage to the nearest 4 targets versus this other, it's like, how do you even know, with all these modifiers and stuff? So yeah, I think, like, to me, I guess the more, like, we were talking about weak auras and like not using add-ons and just sort of like playing natty, right? To me, this is like playing natty, right? Like deciding what to do with your character should be as natty as possible, and you just like use your brain and figure it out, and you should be able to get good results.
I will say that, if you made stats a little bit more complicated, it would be harder to play natty. But it's not like I mean, if you care enough, you're already simming your character as is. It's not like that. I think that there just kind of reaches a threshold, like you kind of talked about. You talked about the natty player. That was me playing Og Evoker in season 1. I wasn't simming my shit. I was just like, yeah, you know what? It's got mastery on it. It looks good enough.
That's every Og player except for like 2 of them.
I think so. Like, if I had to redo talent trees, I don't like the aspect of, it's like, I want this talent, but in order to get this talent, it needs to be a connected node.
Yeah.
But this connected node kind of sucks. And it's like, well, do I take this better node that's connected to this other node that's like slightly worse, but maybe it's better overall, or not? Yeah. Like, if I were to do talent trees again, I would just have like a bucket of the talents, and you can just take like X number out of the bucket.
Dude, to me, there's just so many of these stupid filler talents too. I guess filler is probably the only way of describing them. It's like,
2% moonfire damage.
Exactly. The perfect example is like, yeah, you get the DK one that we looked at a couple weeks ago that we thought might be a raid buff, the 2% haste one. How is that a fucking node? Like, are we serious?
Yeah.
Like, it's just they passively just have 2% more haste. Do we need that node like anywhere? Like, no.
Yeah. And before it turns into like a rogue, like talent trees, I think belong in like a roguelike type game where as you slowly progress, you start to unlock more and more things. Like then the percentage points start to build up. You feel more powerful throughout your run and stuff like that. It just feels odd in WoW now because especially
that's
in retail
leveling.
WoW.
That is leveling.
Well,
yeah.
That's
Right,
not
but
where I
then
was
it's-
about to go.
Yeah.
Retail leveling is not the game anymore. Retail is all about the end game. So like, does the leveling experience of talent trees actually matter in the long term? And that's going to be a controversial question, no matter who you ask.
I mean, I think that's a question for like Blizzard almost to answer, right? It kind of depends on how many people are interacting with with in game versus leveling. I think if you have, a large portion of your player base beyond the scope of, I leveled my characters up from 80 to 90 or whatever the hell, or 70 to 80, it is if you're interacting with leveling beyond that scope, yeah, I think that for Blizzard it's probably of kind of utmost importance for them to maintain some level of leveling cohesion. But at the same time, I don't know. I just don't, something about it just doesn't seem like a lot of people are out here just leveling as their main source of content in current retail.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Blizzard a long time ago I think the content in WoW is like not necessarily leveling, but like gearing up for the raid, right? Like gearing up for the raid and then doing the raid. Like that's sort of the content. And Blizzard has pushed that almost entirely away from leveling, right? Like you don't even care about your gear really when you level. Like most people just try to level as fast as possible. I think even the more casual community. And then it's like, okay, once you're max level, that's when the game starts, right? Like, okay, now I'm level 80. Like then you do delves and world quests and you might do the theater troupe and then eventually you might queue some dungeons and then blah, 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 right? Like to me, that's the game. And so like, yeah, I think the old school talent system just applies way better to the end game.
How did you feel about leveling in Mists of Pandaria, though, where you didn't get, like, talents per level? Obviously, I've seen a lot of complaints about MOP leveling just because it's so slow.
Yeah, it was pretty slow. Also, I got trolled, and I decided to try and play Fire Mage. And Fire Mage without gear is absolutely terrible. Like, it was essentially, like, almost as bad as leveling as a healer. I just recently started playing Arcane, and it's like, you ever like play a dog shit spec and then you play something that's like actually good and you do like one game with it or one dungeon and you're just like, oh my god, how was I playing that my whole life? You know what I mean?
I had that experience with Torghast. I had that experience with Torghast. Some specs were just so bad at Torghast.
Yeah, that was me. So I just recently switched to Arcane and I think I would have had a much better time if I played it. I don't really mind I thought the leveling gets pretty streamlined when it comes to like it's basically exactly the same as Kata. Like you do quests, you just follow the main quest chain, you sit in a dungeon queue, and every once in a while you do a dungeon. You make sure you do all of them to do all the quests, and you know what I mean. Like I think I don't know. It's like whatever. I don't really mind it. Like to me, when a game is new and everyone's in the open world and you're like seeing people and everyone's logging in and your entire guild's online and your friends list is busy, like that's cool. Like I like that part of MMOs, so I don't really mind the like longer, meatier leveling, but I mean it's like whatever, you know, it's nowhere near classic where like classic is the entire game is the leveling.
Yeah.
You know, like you get to level 60 and some people are like, all right, I'm done. I beat World of Warcraft and they just log off, and that's the last time I've had characters like that in hardcore, so yeah, it was all right. I don't know. I don't really mind it.
All right. Any final thoughts on talent trees or gear or secondary
stuff?
stuff?
I will mention a little bit of negative things about MOP because I know the retail and the audience hates when I only say good things. While it's true that, you know, I'm talking about the intentionality of the choices of like the talents and the stats and stuff, the gameplay and the rotation in retail is just so good. Like, I know I complain about things being too complicated, but like, okay, here's your AoE rotation as a mage in Classic. You press Cone of Cold, and then you press Arcane Explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I do. I just when I'm doing dungeons, I just press Cone of Cold and then I spam Arcane Explosion and I'm just watching a video on my other monitor until the pack's dead. Sometimes I'll be Arcane Explosioning one mob just sitting there because I'm just so not paying attention to what's going on, because like there's enough finesse to the classes. Like it's definitely not turbo easy, but like the gameplay in retail is just it's so unique when it comes to RPGs, like how complex and like that is all I complain about it, but that's also a very good part about retail as well.
I mean, retail classes have been built off of Legion Legendaries, Shadowlands Covenants, Soulbinds, Conduits. We have hero talents now. Every previous legendaries.
Essences, all the tier set bonuses, some like many of them have worked their way.
Every tier set bonus, the history of ever, like that, all of that shit is back. And I think that makes a lot of the talent trees. And so it's like basically every single class right now is Blizzard's biggest hits for your spec.
Yep.
Okay. SQUISHEI, what did you want to talk about with levers? Because I think we've had a little bit of time to check out how the lever system works a bit more on the PTR. You wanted to bring this up this week. What did you want to say about it?
Well, I wanted to ask you guys for an update, because you guys have been doing a lot of keys on the PTR, and I wanted to ask, how is it? Because I have not tested it since like all this stuff got data mined. So Tettles, your face palming. What's going on?
Are you flagged as a lever right now on the PTR, girl?
Yes.
I'm flagged as a lever. Everybody I play with is flagged as a lever. It is what I will say about the deserter system is I think it has good intentions. Maybe once the season comes out, people are going to use it as it's supposed to be used, where you instead of zoning out of a dungeon, you just type /abandon. But it is, if you're just playing the same way you have for the past 8 years, it is really, really easy to get flagged to the fucking lever right now. Like you just zone out, somebody resets the key, and then you get flagged to the lever, or you drop group, or the dungeon's over for whatever reason, and instead of waiting to /abandon, you just drop group because that's more natural, and then you just get punished because of it. I mean, personally haven't.
Wasn't that our speculation though, that like for high keys the lever system isn't gonna matter because it's not built for you guys?
Yeah, but like pretty much everybody is flagged as a lever on the PTR right now. Like
for high keys, I don't think that matters. But...
Okay, for high keys it doesn't matter, but like, yeah, I don't know. I think that like there are nice QOLs that's attached to /abandoning the dungeon, where like it stops the run immediately, it ports you directly out. It doesn't reset the dungeon for you, but in theory it could reset the dungeon for you as well.
I thought it does.
Oh, maybe it does. Oh shit.
I think /abandon ports everyone to the start and resets.
Okay, if it resets,
which there was some feedback that they didn't want that, right? Like imagine you're somebody who's like doing a key and then your team just abandons, but you like at least wanted to see something, right? Like maybe it's like, okay, let me test a weak aura, or let me look at the spot, or I'm a tank and let me try this pull. You literally get taken out of the dungeon by your team and you can no longer enter it, which I think is a little bit silly.
Yeah, I know Evade was upset with that.
Evade was upset with the fact that it like stuns your character and like it just like locks you down immediately.
He would want to test stuff if others are, if the key's over. He was like, I want to do stuff. Like,
I think he gets more upset that four people vote to abandon the dungeon immediately when he's not done.
Yeah, I mean it just feels very unnatural. Like Dorky and I always mention this on stream when people say things and we're like, WoW isn't an MMO, because it like really isn't, right? Like it's such an instance-based, high level competitive PvE. Yeah, it really is like a lobby game nowadays, and it does, like at the end of the day, is stopping people from leaving runs good? Probably, but we are scratching away at all of the things that, made the game magical MMO in the first place. Like do we really need to like make it feel like League of Legends, where it just pops up a window and then there's all these votes and shit, and then you just ending match, and then you like why is there even a town anymore? Like why not just give us a main screen or whatever, a menu?
It's gonna be your house, Grell.
That's right.
Yeah. Jeez. Future. So I'm not. One thing I'm really curious about the lever system, and they can't really give details about this, I don't think, because they're not going to want people to abuse it or figure it out or whatever. But like, so how does it work? Like, okay, let's say you've been playing World of Warcraft for 15 years. Like, are you going to have good standing and not leave? Like, can you build up good standing across seasons? Like, let's say you hardly left any keys in season 1 and 2, but then now season 3 started and I had this issue with my power supply in my computer and I ended up desync a few keys. I eventually stopped keying, right, and figured it out, but I
Yeah.
didn't quite understand. Like, if that happened to me at the beginning of the season, now do I just have this giant red marker on Jangbi and I can't even get press on the first week because everyone thinks I'm a lever? Or is there like, I'm just curious, because like right now in PTR, you mentioned it, right? Everybody has this marker, mainly because nobody cares. But I'm also kind of wondering, like, well, I mean, we're copying a character over, so in theory it should have a history, but I guess none of the history matters. Like, it's going to start, and then now all of us are on a clean slate when it comes to levers. But then what happens in the next expansion or the next season, right?
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, does this matter? Like, I really don't think that this matters. Or rather, I don't think this is actually the solve for the problem that they're trying to tackle. Like, I do understand that it's a community solution for a community problem. The issue is, like, I feel like there's a lot of people who can get flagged as a lever, who's just, you're just playing the game naturally. Sure, instead of slash abandoning the dungeon, you just fucking pieced out. I don't know. There's gonna be some retraining. I think I bet in the first season it might be completely boned, where everybody's just like flagged.
Yeah. I mean, so if I was designing the system, because obviously we, like Grau said, we can't know how much it works. If I was designing it, it would be X, like percentage of keys completed of the last X keys, like of the last 10 keys, of the last 20 keys or something. So it's like a rolling last key system. Because realistically, if you did 600 keys instead of leaving every key after, like, you should be probably flagged as a lever, no matter how many keys you did previously. You should also have a way to climb out of it, so eventually, you start increasing your success rate of your recent keys. Like, that's how I would design it, which I'm guessing that would be around how they would design it too. Because they said that in order to remove the flag, you need to complete keys, which would indicate increasing your success rate.
Is this necessary? Like, I guess that's a better question for me. Is like, was this really necessary?
I don't know.
I mean,
the big problem with like basically every solution or like ideas is, I truly feel like, while it may be the case, I can't speak for how many of these people there are. Generally, when it comes to levers, like, there's going to be a select few people that are like probably complete terrorists, right? Like, there's probably some people that are absolutely miserable key after key, and like, you just play with this guy and you're like, what in the world is this problem? And like, hopefully the systems can like target those people and then everyone knows who those people are. But like, yeah, I don't know. Or is it just meant to be like a preventative measure? I don't know. I guess I think Squishy's point, and I'm starting to agree, of like, man, it just feels silly, right? Like, is this really doing anything? Like, what is it accomplishing? I guess here's the thing, though. I think Tettle's made up a good point too, is that it's absolutely not for me, right? Like, someone who pugs high keys, and generally the community knows each other, and you deplete a lot of freaking keys. Like, we have the conversation about resilient keys with Farfa, right? And it's like, we engage with the game so differently, right? Like, when you log into World of Warcraft and do like, a couple keys a couple days a week, like, yeah, I guess, having a key depleted really, really fucking sucks, and you don't really care about the whole progression system as much as someone like I do. And like, for someone like that too, like, if someone is continuously leaving keys and they grief one of your keys, like, it feels really bad, right? And you really don't, you would really like if one of those people got flagged, and maybe in that range of like, 10s to 15s or something, right? Where it's just like, not necessarily bad people, right? But just people that don't spend a lot of time playing Mythic Plus, but value their, don't want to have their time wasted when they do spend it in there, I think maybe those people would benefit. But yeah, for someone like if you're pugging 18s, it's not like, it'll be interesting. I'm very interested to see how people engage with it, right? Like, are people going to care? Is it like, is everyone going to have it? Is no one going to have it? Like, are you going to get declined from 18s? Like, I think genuinely the system might work okay. And like, again, that like 12 to 15 sort of range, but I'm interested to see how everyone else engages with it.
I will say that I pulled my chat and was talking about this with chat the other day. and I asked them like, how frequently do you encounter somebody who's like toxic to your group? Like how frequently do you encounter a toxic player? And on average, they said somewhere between every 20 and 30 keys, they'll encounter somebody who's toxic, whether it be being an asshole or whether it be intentionally griefing by leaving the dungeon. And that to me is like that number, and it's not a ton of people, right? Like you've interacted with, say, 80 people, one of them's going to be a dick. I mean, it sucks. It does suck whenever it happens. At the same time, I don't think that this deserter system flag penalty is the real solution. And I do question as to whether or not it's going to be applied to people who aren't exactly chronic leavers.
Yeah, I think it's really relative to what level of content that you do. Like, I'll actually say that I've encountered more toxic shitheads doing MOP heroic dungeons in the last week than I do at Mythic Plus, right? Because these are people who are just like, for lack of a better word, right? Like just random civilians, right? Like these are not people who like appreciate the game or study the game or whatever, right? Like who even knows what in the world, dude? When you do a heroic dungeon, you get kicked for 30 minutes or you get banned for 30 minutes. I've been kicked by now from 3 different dungeons. I just don't even understand. People are complete shitheads about it too.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, I think it's completely down to like what level of content you do. Like, obviously there will always be some bad apples, but I think if you're doing something at a high level, generally the community is like very positive. I think it's when you're in the trenches, especially, is when you run into the real problem. Like, I bet
it's like the platinum equivalent to League of Legends. It's like those are the people who are like, they're good, they're like good enough, but they're assholes. But it's like, holy shit, these people are insane.
Like, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, for me, I think it's good that Blizzard's trying something, because it's really easy to rip the system out if it's no good, right?
Yeah.
Like,
that's true. That's a good point.
This isn't like we're giving everyone dinars and JK, we're taking it back. This is like, okay, you guys didn't like it, we're just gonna remove it, and we're gonna go back to the way it was with no harm, no foul. So like, to me, this is like a very, we'll see how it goes for a season. If it sucks, we won't see it again for a bit.
It's really low stakes. I do think I tend to agree with that.
So
I hope that's the case. I do feel like when it comes to especially the bigger gaming companies, though, they are way too slow and stubborn with systems to say it was what was the last system that Blizzard said, okay, this was a failure, we got rid of it? Like, do you remember, like, they even said that with Covenants going into Shadowlands, and they're like, no, we know there's going to be problems. Like, how long did it take them to, you know what I mean? So that's, I completely agreed with you on a surface level, but then I'm thinking about it, I'm like, my history with game companies is they never want to admit that,
listen,
this was bad, let's scratch this.
The downside of this, though, is that everybody in the world has flagged as a lever and nobody cares.
Yeah. It'll be a fun badge of honor.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think for a certain level, it will work. What that level is, I don't know. But for you guys doing, like, coordinated keys, or for me doing guild keys, it'll just be, like, a meme more than anything. Like, Tettle's got the lever penalty. What a goober. Like, that's it. That's the end of the system for us. But it wasn't made for us, so...
And maybe it's due to the fact that you just, like, how you do keys on PTR just makes it conducive for everybody to have the lever penalty. But so many people have it on the PTR that I think that's... It's more just like you're so accustomed to playing the game a certain way. It's like a hard habit to like break, just like leaving the key whenever it's dead, more or less. And instead you're slamming /abandon. Not that again, it's not even like bad to slam /abandon. Like there are benefits to doing it. It ports you out of the dungeon. That's kind of nice. You don't have to use a hearth, right? But I don't know. It's just like getting comfortable doing that. Maybe, and it might end up being like pings, where I remember when pings came out, everybody was like, these are useless. Who's going to ever use these? And then as time goes on, everybody's like, wow, pings are sick.
Yeah. I fought for pings no matter what, dude.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think pings are great.
I agree with you. I agree with you that they used them.
They were severely underutilized for sure when they first came out. Like, I think nowadays, if you don't have a ping keybind or whatever, and you're like not used to using it, you're crazy. Like, that's a weakness. I think.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think that in the lever system might end up being similar to the ping system, where initially it comes out and you're like, what in the... But then as time goes on, everybody starts to play around it and use it more and more, and everybody kind of it just kind of ingrains itself with the ecosystem, and then everybody's like, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, one thing I want to add, if any of the listeners haven't engaged with any of the PTR content yet, not that this is a spoiler, but it is a very it is when they're leavers. Like, people know when you're a leaver if you're in the pug community. So basically the way it works is when you sign up for in LFG, there are like these big like red X's by your little
It's a flag.
thing.
It's unironically a flag.
Yeah.
Like it's a literal red
It's a
flag
red
or
flag.
whatever. Yeah. And then when you go to sign up for the group, it literally puts this text box in the middle of your screen that is like, there are one or more people marked as a leaver. Are you sure you want to join this group or whatever? And it's just like, it really goes out of their way to like demonize those people, which is kind of why we're memeing about like the system, right? Because imagine you just open up LFG and just everybody's got a red X or whatever, like it's just gonna look ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. In other news, we've seen some BOE changes with how BOEs are being distributed in Season 3, and they now have random secondary stats. And so there's as it's currently been, there have been specific pieces of gear, whether it's been like one tier piece and one non-tier piece for most armor types. And now instead of being specific stats, they are now random stats. There's also a ring that has, I guess it's listed as no stats.
So I've been told that this is a BOE, and it uses the old naming convention from Classic, Growl.
Of the
like-
feather flare.
Oh, where it has
Yeah.
suffix or affix,
Yeah.
prefix and suffix, yeah.
So, what do you guys think of this?
So my first thought when I was looking at the BOEs, I was like, this is going to be a nothing burger, mainly because everybody's going to want the boots that buff the cape, right? So a lot of the BOEs in the raid I noticed are boots. So I don't know if BOEs it's mainly just going to be like, oh, if you have a lot of gold and you just want to like gear up item level really fast, then you buy them. And I don't really think you're going to care that much about stats. And a lot of the other pieces too, like pants or whatever, shoulders, you can catalyze them. And that's how most people use those BOEs, right?
Yeah.
You get a BOE from the raid and you catalyze it. So I think for the most part, it won't matter. However, now that you confirm that the ring, like it is a BOE ring that has
I'm pretty
variable
sure it
stats
is.
on it, that's going to be, I think, a very big deal where like, right, there are some classes or just situations where you really, really need certain stats, right? And you're going to be on the, if you're one of those classes that want that myth track really, whatever statted ring, like you're going to be on there searching for it.
Well,
what is the most popular combo? Is it Crit Mastery?
It's Haste Mastery.
Mastery?
It's Haste
I was thinking
Mastery,
Haste
and
Mastery.
I don't know if it's Mastery heavy or if it's Haste heavy, but it's one of the two of those.
I know. I'm pretty sure the least popular is Verse Haste, right?
First crit, I think, is fucking useless too. No.
I know Bear used to be Verse Haste, and Brewmaster was Verse Crit, or something like that.
Yeah, I think most classes do not like verse generally, unless it's a tank.
Yeah.
Oh, Verse
Even
Master
then-
is also pretty dead.
Even then, there's a lot of tanks that like really need the haste.
I mean, dude, my gut reaction with all this is like, wow, BOEs are gonna be super expensive now. But I started thinking about it a little bit more while you were talking. At the end of the day, like you can craft like most of these slots at like a 3 item level loss with professions, with just how so overpowered profession crafting is. More often than not, like I wouldn't even bother buying something off the auction house for millions of gold. Like whenever I can craft something 3 item levels lower, like do I really need 3 item levels on a ring? Like do I really care? Not really.
Yeah, it's very small, but I mean, you know how wild people are with min-max.
Yeah,
right?
true.
So, for sure, like not only are they gonna do that, right, but also think about tertiaries, right? Like to be able to buy, every class will technically be able to buy a BIS statted ring with tertiaries. Like that's gonna be.
I mean,
you're
talking 5 million gold here, though.
Yeah, this is something that again, not most people will not care about or be able to afford, but it will exist in the game for sure.
Yeah, like it'll probably matter for what? Easter World First Raiders?
Well, BOEs are not BOEs at the beginning.
Well,
right?
they could buy Hero Track, of best
Hero Track,
stats.
Oh,
For
true. Yeah,
mid-packets.
true. I guess. Yeah.
So that will be very interesting, though. Like to have what is essentially random drop loot from lieutenants. So you're gonna want to do the lieutenants again, assuming that they keep that, which I think they are.
What's your gut reaction to this? I mean, do you think people in Might are going to buy these pieces of gear that are trying to get their best stats?
Realistically, only the ring, I think. maybe the tier piece if they really want a mid-track tier piece.
Yeah.
And they have a free catalyst. But like, you're gonna be limited on catalyst early on. You're gonna have the boots, and 3 of the 4 BOEs are boots for some reason. Only one isn't. I think it's the leather one. So like 3 of the BOEs are just dead, and then the leather one is a belt or something.
It is what? Yeah. So the reason he said boots are dead is because Demon Hunter Council boss has the 50% RESHII wrap power boots that pretty much everybody wants to wear as turbo bis. That's so strange. I didn't even consider. I don't know.
It's definitely really odd.
I'm going to be honest, BOEs to me have not mattered since Nihilotha. I have not cared one bit about BOEs since that one time that we could buy corruption BOEs.
It's not bad for like gearing alts, I will say. If you have the gold, you can like let's say you like buy a really cheap, you buy the worst statted helm or you like your tier piece. That's a mid-track tier piece right off the bat for a new character. Like it's actually not
how much
that
does that
bad.
cost? We're talking like
I've done it at the end of the season, especially like a couple $100K.
What does
at the end of the
what does it cost to
season,
buy a raid boost for like 4 bosses or something?
Oh,
Right now?
raid boost.
Right now, I think an 8 of 8 is like 5 to 6 million.
It's just so funny to think, like, imagine anybody who would need a raid boost having 5 or 6 million. Like, either you do some other sort of boosting or you bought the gold with money.
Swipe.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so ridiculous when I look at the raid prices.
Yeah.
I mean, not just raid, like Mythic Plus is out of control too. I've been completely out of the loop with sales this season.
Sales are garbage in my opinion. Like,
oh yeah, it's so bad for the game.
it's one of those things that like I interact with it because I need the fucking gold, but like, man, it is so bad for the game. Like, and if sales went away, I would not shed a singular tear for that. Like, I think that sales are so actively bad for the game, like you're saying.
Yeah, it's like kind of a neat thing from a guild perspective because it's like, okay, we can all do this together and we're all earning gold, and then like it gives a little incentive to like, okay, a really squeaky clean run guild can like, you know, give more to the raiders or whatever. Like, it's a little bit reminiscent of like the old school, you know, guild, like money or the not money but gold mattering and guild community stuff. But the fact that you're carrying people's rat characters through the raid is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it was also kind of spurred on this time by the dinar system, where you need to just kill a boss once to unlock all the stuff. So like,
it's been a thing as long as I played the game.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, but it was definitely made worse. I feel like, right? Like, it was, in my opinion, made worse because of the dinar system this time around. Because people just wanted their 1 kill to get their cool, sick loot, and then there you go.
I mean, back in the day,
Dude,
people just used to RMT just like straight up.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I mean back in the day, you just pilot accounts, people would just pay money. Like, dude, there's a hilarious thread on Reddit, by the way. I'm not gonna link it or show it because I don't want this person to get bullied or whatever. But basically, somebody made a post on Reddit. It wasn't really that much of a brag post, but it was essentially like, I work so and so hours a week and I still manage to do it all. And it's like a screenshot of them getting like some rank in PvP and then like AOTC and then the 3K IO and all this stuff, right? And then I looked at the top comment and the guy showed that he actually bought his Gallywix AOTC and he bought some of the 13s that were on the Raider IO. And it was just like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you buy the stuff and then you brag on Reddit about it. Like, dude, I don't care if you're like, oh, you know, I just can't do this 13 brewery. Like, I just give up. I'm going to buy it because I don't care. But then to go on Reddit and brag about how you work X hours a week and you accomplished all this when you just bought half the shit on there, it was so funny. It was one of the best like competitive WoW subreddit threads I've seen in a while.
I think that to me is exactly why I don't. That's why I don't think sales are like healthy for the game. Not because some, you know, people are bragging or whatever about their achievements. Like, everybody has achievements that they care about, but it's more just like the thought process of there is that shortcut. It's kind of like what Growl said. Like, it doesn't matter if you brought the 13 Cinder Brew metery that you couldn't get. I think that does matter. Like, I actually think that does matter that you couldn't get that 13 Cinder Brew metery, and your reaction instead of getting good and getting that 13 Cinder Brew metery is, I'm gonna buy this motherfucker. I think that is bad.
Yeah, there's been very few things that I like actively go to the like Blizzard people or community discords or whatever with, but one of the big ones is, dude, I hate so much how much the sales stuff is thrown into the faces of people who are newer players. Like that newer player experience, the stuff in LFG is still bad, but it used to be worse. The fact that you
Used
can
to
just
be
like,
awful.
dude, imagine you're like playing some class, you're like, hey, this class looks fun, you know, Feral Druid, I like being a cat, and then it turns out your class isn't that popular, so it's harder to find groups, and you're just sitting here trying to find groups, and just every other group want to sell 20, you know, you just search for keys and it's just advertisements in the group finder. Like it is so gross. And then it also throws you into, you like go into trade chat or like whatever chat, and everyone just spamming like it is just disgusting, the spam from all the people running all the like chat add-ons and bots and stuff. And it's like they like I don't really care so much that stuff exists, because it's always going to exist, but dude, get that out of the way. Like bury it in a hole somewhere, so you have to go out of your way to find it if that's what you want. Like stop throwing that in the faces of people who are just trying to play the game.
Need a better LFG system. You can probably just filter that, because right now the only way to do it is by add-on, right?
Yeah,
You just add-on filter at WTS or something.
Surely there has to be a way of getting them out of LFG from Blizzard's end. That's not that hard.
It's already like it's already against the terms of service.
I mean, yeah, okay, not that it's against the terms of service, but Blizzard just like not letting you list a motherfucking group like that.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. People have tried to tell me that it's a hard problem, but like I just don't see how hiring one intern on their lunch break to go through the LFG and just literally just start handing out insanely severe punishments to every account doing that. Like it's just so bad for the game.
What if you just can't? What if you just can't list a group in LFG unless you have like a Mythic Plus Keystone or have done some form of in-game content? Because these are all like fresh level 1 accounts sitting in Orgrimmar and Stormwind doing this stuff, right?
I don't know exactly. I think, I think a good thing to do would be to have a filter where you can just filter out anybody with 0 IO.
Can't you not list a group if you don't have like your account
I know
authenticated or whatever too?
Well, yeah. No. Well, I can't. So people made fun of me on stream. I haven't had an authenticator for like months. I actually just recently set it up again. But
you can't change the title.
Yeah. Yeah, but they have custom titles, I'm pretty sure, right? Or do they not?
Are there titles like what to sell, blah, blah, blah?
Oh, yeah. And it's just so rampant. Like, I don't know. It feels like massive incompetence from me on their end. I remember I noticed when I've been playing recently, anytime I'm in LFG, I always just spam report them. And dude, it's just the same names. Like, it's not even like how is the fact that I'm spam reporting the same fucking druid every day when I'm trying to find a 19 Cinderbrew on poor Jangbi, and then it keeps appearing in my group over and over and over again. Like, I get it, right? I get, Growl, you can download an add-on and get rid of it. Like, again, I'm not that annoyed by it because I don't care that much. I'm annoyed by it because it's terrible for the game. Like, I'm not their target audience, right? Like, I'm mad about it because I know I hear the outcry from the comments and my chat about how tough LFG can be, and it's like, that stuff annoys me. That's one of my big pet peeves in the
salespeople.
Maybe it does bother me a lot.
The salespeople, but it bothers me mad personally.
Growl's angry.
Well, like,
you love a good Growl rant.
No, like, it sounded like maybe you knew more about the authentication stuff.
As far as I know, you just need to apply an authenticator, and then you can change the title. Which realistically, if they're creating a new account, they need a new email, which means you just sign up for Google Authenticator. Like,
okay, so maybe there needs to be more.
I have Google Authenticator. Like,
there maybe needs to be more strict requirements on their ability to be able to list an LFG or something like that.
I mean, like, realistically, no level 1 should ever need to list
anything
a custom dungeon finder, like, in my opinion. So that could probably be something.
Yeah. All right. In other news, we got new necklaces. There's a versatility and crit necklace that has been added to Priority of the Sacred Flame, and a mastery versatility necklace. So Blizzard finally taking a crack at dungeon loot a little bit, trying to make sure that there was going to be enough necks in this season. Unfortunately, these are both awful statted pieces.
Dude, I saw Rello. Rello was so happy these necks got added.
Well, yeah, he's a brewmaster monk. Like, of course he is. He's like, they made them for him.
I mean, I think it's good they're looking at loot pools, honestly. Like, this is definitely something that they were missing. But the other necks, there are 2 in Tazavesh. Both have haste.
okay.
One's haste crit, one's haste verse. There was one more, I think, in, was it Halls? Yeah, Halls has the haste mastery one. Heavy haste. And
What's the
I
red
think
got?
there was one more. I don't know. But we're just talking about like dungeons here, like for the dungeon people.
Yeah.
I think that was it. It was just like 3 necks and they all had haste on them. Which is why probably these got added.
I mean, you would be forced to craft them then at that point, right?
Right, which isn't exactly great. Like if you don't like haste, then the dungeon loot pool just kind of sucks. So like now we have 5 total necks, which I think is pretty healthy. Like I'm a fan of them doing this. I don't know how you guys
Yeah,
feel.
it's good. I feel like they've had a problem with this whole expansion, and I don't ever really remember this being a problem. I remember season 1, it felt like it was very, very hard to get like the smaller pieces like wrists and belt and stuff like that because there were so many like random dog shit trinkets and weapons in the pool. And then season 2, there was like no necks or like certain jewelry was missing, and it was like very, very hard to get the right jewelry. I remember doing like 40 motherload runs or something to get the one ring that was like good statted for my disc. And yeah, I don't know. I don't remember this ever happening in previous seasons of M Plus since I've started playing, where it's just like there are just weird shortages of items.
I mean, this season and next, it was 2, right? Cinderbrew.
Well, yeah,
and
that's yeah.
Starflame.
Well, that's what I mean. These 2 seasons.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Since besides this, I don't mean season 3. Sorry, I meant so far this expansion. Season 1 and season 2 had these weird item shortages that I don't remember.
I feel like this is. I feel like this has definitely happened in the past. I think it's one of those things that, like, since they are introducing us new dungeons, they need to really be more diligent about rebalancing the legacy dungeon pool to make sure that we aren't missing so much loot, like missing like a couple of pieces. There was one season, I'm pretty sure there wasn't like an agi polearm on the vendor or on the entire season. I think it was a Dragonflight season where there just like wasn't an agility weapon or something, and they had to add it in.
Staff this last season.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no non-cantrip weird like unstatted staff. Because the only staves that are in the pool right now are the one from Rookery that has less stats but has that damage proc, and then the Mechagon staff, yeah. Which I mean, as an arcane mage, great. But as any other class, you don't usually like those.
Yeah, I think whenever they're bringing back the legacy dungeons, I think they just need to be a little bit more diligent about making sure the dungeon pool is fine. Because I think whenever they make the dungeon pool, this is just this is pure speculation. What happens, at least in my theory, is like they made the dungeon pool for all 8 War Within dungeons. They go, this is great. This is a well-balanced dungeon pool in terms of loot. And then they don't really think about it in terms of Mythic Plus at all. And they're like, yep, this is all 8 dungeons. They think about all 8 War Within dungeons as loot together, as opposed to how 4 of these dungeons being split up from the other 4 would make sense with 4 returning dungeons.
Yeah.
Seems likely, yeah.
What was there's been a couple dungeons historically that were brought back where they have like 4 total pieces of loot.
Yeah,
you know
the older the dungeons are, usually the weirder the loot pool.
Yeah,
I remember
like,
wasn't there a dungeon that had like 8 rings or something in it, and it's just like, what the heck is this?
3 fucking rings right now.
Theater is 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there was one that was like 8 rings. It was just like some ridiculous like cataclysm dungeon or something. I don't remember which one, but I remember and yeah, like you said, there are dungeons like that too that just have like 3 items on the loot pool or something.
Yeah, I think Throne of the Tides was maybe the one that had weird loot.
Oh, you might be right.
Yep, that sounds right.
Yeah. And then like the WoD ones, you can't even read the dungeon journal because how they did loot from dungeons in WoD was like there's one of every single piece of gear in WoD, so they have to like completely redo the loot whenever any of those dungeons return too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the WoD dungeon. It was Shadow and Burial Grounds. That dungeon had like 4 pieces of loot.
Oh, total?
Yeah.
that sounds right.
I don't even remember.
It was like I remember running that dungeon so much. It was like a chest, shoulders, and something else. And that was like
oh
all
my
you could
god, I do remember it, and I could get it down to 3 pieces of loot because I really wanted the trinket that was like a healer. There was like a healer trinket from that dungeon. You could I think spec balance, and it was like it only got you down to like 3 pieces of loot that were required for that pool or something so silly.
Yeah.
I have forgotten about that dungeon having no loot.
It was great to run weekly and absolutely horrid for loot.
Yeah, that is. Another news, we got RESHII wrap buffs. Huge buffs to the RESHII wrap effects on the 11.2 PTR. I've heard reports of RESHII wraps being bugged currently for tanks. Apparently the tank proc is supposed to proc only once every 6 minutes, but it is procking more frequently than that. Which, if you're somebody from Blizzard watching this, you're not allowed to fix this. If anything, I want my tanks to be more survivable, not less. So please, God, do not go through and fix this.
Yeah, it's either they either mega buffed it or it's broken or both. I've been watching Healer Greg do a little bit of PTR keys, and he was doing like some high stuff, and it was like one of his top healing was the cape.
Yeah.
He was doing like 8 or 9% overall healing, which I mean, all right, we complained about it being a nothing burger, and now it's doing stuff. So I'm not necessarily going to complain about this. It just is a little bit funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the cape, what we said last week whenever we were talking about the cloak was like, our complaint was like the procs themselves don't feel that great. I don't think this necessarily per se solves the procs not feeling great, but making them a lot more impactful to the point where you notice them every single time they proc. While it is this, purely passive effect, it is going to be something that at least you notice, and I think that gets it more in line with where people kind of expect artifacts to be.
I think this is fine. Like the DPS proc is about 1 million now, which is like a hefty number.
1 million
It's pretty
DPS?
good. No, just 1 million proc. Like it's before it was doing 300k, man. Like that shit is like 1 global.
I'm pretty sure it's like 2.5% of my overall DPS in a dungeon run now. Which
it's definitely better.
So 2.5%, of course, is around the 15th amount of damage source for my character.
Yeah, like it's not bad. The one concern that I have is just like they do this all the time where DPS get a nice proc and tanks get defensive value. And then for some weird reason, no one knows why, tanks start having threat issues again. Do you remember when remember in BFA when DPS the fucking laser beam and tanks couldn't get that?
The essence of the
and
focus,
for
like
some
Irish.
reason, tanks couldn't hold threat for some reason, despite having a 20 times threat modifier in that expansion. It's like, I don't think 1 million damage proc is going to be super crazy, but like they're doing that thing again where they just don't give tanks DPS and they just put them in the like your job is to survive category,
now,
which just feels bad.
I will say tanks on the PTR have had a better time maintaining threat than they have historically. But now haters would say that's because they're doing a lot of damage, and they would be right. But I think that that's totally fine, so I'm not going to complain about that. Like, the threat is a problem if tanks are doing normal amounts of damage relative to DPS where they historically sit. Right now, tanks are doing, I would say, like 70% of a DPS's worth of damage in most situations. Now, there are some times, of course, where a DPS can rip off of a tank, particularly, Ellie Shaman, Sub Rogue without tricks. It's like Sub Rogue without tricks, Ellie Shaman, Dev Evoker. Of course, they can rip off a tank, but in general, it seems like it's been better this PTR cycle about tank threat. But that's a lot of times due to Protection Warrior has a lot of damage. Prot Paladin does a lot of damage. Brewmaster Monk does a lot of damage, and Vengeance Demon Hunter, they recently buffed the hell out of Vengeance Demon Hunter damage. So.
Hold on, I'm focused up. I just yoinked this rare from this guy. I've been camping for an hour. He's pissed. He's just standing right next. He's pissed. It's kind of a scary rare there. It does like a thing. Oh, die. Hold on. Just
We're getting get the live commentary. Come on, keep going, Growl.
I know it's not. Oh my god! I just caught it. Holy shit!
You dead?
He's probably laughing.
Are you dead?
No. It didn't drop the thing. So it's a 5% drop rate, but the thing that it drops. Oh, I got a pet. The thing that it drops is like really valuable. It's like a 5% drop rate. That it's like maybe 2 WoW tokens, I think, worth in the auction.
Oh yeah,
house.
they changed.
Damn.
They changed WoW tokens to actually be able to be bought off of Classic, didn't they?
Yeah.
I was reading about that.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like Classic and Retail now have different WoW tokens. Yeah.
Oh, I know the WoW token is added, but I don't know past that.
I'm
What do you
pretty.
mean different?
I mean different gold values, right?
Well, it's always been different gold values.
Yeah.
Wait, when
Imagine getting 250,000
Wait.
gold in Wrath of the Lich King.
When did it get added to Classic?
Wrath.
Oh shit. Lost.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That's what I thought you were talking
I'm
about.
lost.
No, I mean, that was just, it got added in Wrath. It's like, oh yeah, dude, classic boosting is worse than
Dude, I remember they
retail.
banned GDKPs and people were mad.
Oh, I mean, they banned advertising them, but everyone still does it.
Yeah.
Sounds like something else on retail.
All right, Squishy, what did you link this post for? So there's a post in the WoW Reddit titled "Why is PvP so unappealing for many players?" Okay, what are we trying to do? We're trying to agitate these people.
I wasn't linking this to talk about. I just wanted to link this to you because we talk about PvP all the time.
Wait a second.
So I guess they're talking about it now.
No, you linked it for me.
So let's get your live reaction. What's your live reaction to this? That's what I was asking.
Why
for.
is PvP so unappealing? I don't even.
All right, well, this is good because I have a lot to say about this.
All right, you lock in. You lock in. I'll come up with my thoughts.
Before World of Warcraft, I never played PvE games. I was like the biggest tryhard competitive. I played like StarCraft, Brood War, and StarCraft 2. I played like Guild Wars. I played Dota. Like I did not play PvE games. I rarely play single player games. And when I first started playing WoW, I was going to be an arena main. My first character was my shaman, and because someone said Sea-Doo's really cool, and I watched Sea-Doo's guide, and I wanted to play PvP, I was like fully going into World of Warcraft going to be a PvP main. And the PvP in World of Warcraft for a new player is such a stinking pile of dog shit. It is so unbelievably unfun and unintuitive. So the major problems with PvP and WoW, number one, there is just way too many buttons and nonsense stuff and spell interactions to learn, and everything is so punishing when you don't know it, right? Like, oh, you trinketed this and you were supposed to trinket this, you instantly lose the game. Like, it's not even like, oh, they get a point or, oh, you took some damage. Like, you're just instantly dead whenever you make any of these mistakes. Another huge problem with WoW PvP is unless you know all of the animations and spells or you have some add-on telling you, you have no idea half the stuff that's going off. So in Guild Wars, another similar game that I used to play, like an MMO PvP, even if somebody uses an instant cast skill, it shows the icon in the name of the skill like by their cast bar, right? Like you can't interrupt it or anything, but it shows that it's there. So when someone's pressing instant cast spells like, I don't know, an ice barrier or an interrupt or something, you can see that they're using it. But when you're trying to learn, like, how are you supposed to learn what classes do? Like, when you can't even see the spells that they're using, and then you open up details, and it's just 17 lines in 0.1 second of all these different procs and stuff.
Yeah.
On top of that, the CC, like, the whole game is based around CC. Like, I want to play the video game. I don't want to just, it's like chess, where you're just like, okay, you do this CC, and then this CC, and then this CC, and then this CC, and you're like doing moves ahead. And it's crazy. I don't want to say that there's no skill in it, dude. To watch a guy like Peekaboo work on Rogue and like understand all the stuff that's going on and shit, like that dude is fucking crazy. And this isn't me disrespecting the people that are good at it, but the way to get into it as somebody who doesn't know what, like, you just have, it's just like a mess. It's like, how would you ever get into this unless you've been playing the game for 15 years?
Yeah, I think
it's basically all the problems with WoW PvE except 20 times worse, and you're fighting against people who are abusing the fact that you don't know them. It's like, imagine if the mobs were like cancel casting spells and shit. Like, like you'd be like, imagine the weak orders you would need to handle that sort of thing. Like, that's what WoW PvP is. Like, it's the same insane punishing, like, crazy stuff that happens, except now it's a person abusing you with it.
I think that what you're saying is kind of my general thoughts on it as well. It's really difficult to play arena, or specifically arena, casually. Arena is like the mode that most people think of whenever they think of WoW PvP. For some reason, Battlegrounds just like never took off in that same way.
I love BGs. BGs is the best way to play the game.
I agree. I actually think that BGs are way cooler in terms of like a PvP format, but for some reason, Arena was the format that took off. Arena is very inaccessible in terms of playing the game casually. Because for a bunch of reasons, first off, you have to know what your character does, you have to know what other people's character does, and you have to know what your teammates' character do, and then you have to know how all of those interact with your individual character. Not only that, but there's hero talents that are stacked on top of that, which are multiplicative complexity. The game is already complex enough. There's these hero talents that are on top of it as well, which makes it even harder to kind of understand. So say you wanted to, let's take the most casual game modes. We got like, delves, you could do some low level mythic plus, or you could do, arena at like 1200 rating. So
even lower level, you do open world stuff like rares and undermine or something.
Something like that, right? Like even lower level. Most of the time, the only thing you need to know, even in mythic plus, even in delves, is how does your character work? Not even how the mobs work. Most of the time, you don't even need to know how the mobs work. You're doing low enough level content where it doesn't fucking matter. Except for in arena, and this level that you hit where you need to know what other people's character does is like 1100 rating. It is like the entry level is like, I need to know what that rogue does and how he interacts with my character. That's like the introduction to playing PvP is like the introduction to PvP is you're already doing 10s or 12s in Mythic Plus, and like that, for a lot of people, the burden of knowledge there is way too high, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's funny because you, Growl, you mentioned like everything in PvP is everything in PvE but worse. I think it's not really talked a lot about, but you mentioned add-ons, and I don't even want to think about what PvP is going to be when the add-ons are removed. I think PvE will live with a bunch of people bitching a lot. But it will be fine, as the devs have kind of shown so far. PvP without add-ons, not being able to track your diminishing returns, your opponent's trinkets, your opponent's kicks, as you mentioned. I don't know how you'll see half the kicks that go off.
Is that not better, though?
Do someone.
Is that not better?
I think it's personally better, but like PvE are gonna just complain, but the PvPers are going to lose a lot more, in my opinion.
They're gonna lose a lot more. That's how they want to actually play the game, in my experience. Is I agree. They find skill expression to be one of the most important things in the game, and they think that add-ons remove skill expression, so they like hate add-ons. That's the cult of people that fucking hate add-ons.
But I completely agree. Like I don't think the optimization level of PvP right now is very good. But the other point I wanted to mention, and for me, is I don't find any game with it's the new cat.
Yeah. Keep talking.
I'm distracted. I don't think any PvP game with a gear imbalance is exactly my type of game. Where you have to gear up, you have to maintain your PvP gear, you have to like work towards your PvP gear. Like, if I'm gonna play a PvP game, I'm gonna go play one that I'm on the same ground as somebody else.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna play a shooter or something, play COD or something like that. If I'm gonna play like an arena game, I think there was like Battle Right from a while back.
Yeah, Battle Right. That game rocked.
Battle Right's awesome. I love Battle Right. Yep.
So Battle Right's good. Like even Plunderstorm, people are on like the same general footing. You all have access to the same abilities. They're really easy to understand. While PvP is just like, well, you have to get all this gear, like the separate set of gear. You have to know all these different things, and then this other guy could have vaulted a weapon or something, and you just don't have your weapon yet, or you're behind. So you're like, if you come in late to a season, you're just at a disadvantage. Like that's not exactly fun. As you mentioned, like skill expression is a big thing. I feel a similar thing playing like other MMO PvPs, like Destiny PvP, just not having the best in slot like gun. You just get gapped sometimes, and it's just like, well, that's not fun. I'm gonna go play Call of Duty where I could just have the same guns as somebody else.
Does WoW PvP feel like World of Warcraft to you guys? It's like Arena doesn't, but BGs do whenever I'm playing them. It's so weird.
I love... So the reason I love BGs is that I think like one of the fun things about RPG PvP, I guess, is coordination and working with people, right? And so the idea of like, you can overcome not really understanding the minutia of the game if you're like making good decisions about where you go on the map and what you do.
Sure.
And that's to me what's good about RPG PvP, right? Is like the movement and the map control. It's like a war. Okay. We're thinking about olden times, and it's like that's what's fun to me. And granted, there are situations, right? Like if you're somebody who's sitting on a base, like you need to know how to 1v1 certain characters, but that's not every role, right? Like you can introduce a noob into BG, give them noob easy roles, explain to them, right? But in a 3v3 arena, it's like, oh, here's my healer friend. He's never played the game before. Okay, he's just gonna come play with us. Like you're gonna have a miserable time unless you're literally like, a rank 1 guy or whatever. So
me
yeah,
ask you-
I love BGs.
Let me ask you a question. Would you enjoy PvP, WoW PvP, if you took the Plunder Storm, like before every match, you just chose 2 or 3 abilities, like, three offensive, 3 utility abilities, and it was just everybody knew what all those abilities does because there's so few of them, and you went BGs or Arena.
I mean, you're talking like a brand new game at this. This is
Yeah,
not,
I mean, it
talking-
basically is.
this is not
But I mean,
WoW.
that's
But that's what I'm saying. Like, take the fun, take, I don't know, capture the flag, or Arathi Basin, and change the hero combat to that style of combat where there's only 10 abilities. Do you think more people would be interested in that?
Probably
I mean, I
not.
think so.
Prob-
I think the huge skill pool. Granted, that's part of what makes WoW, right? So it's hard to say like, I just don't like WoW PvP, and part of the reason I don't like it is because every class has 50 skills. But like again, I'll always cite Guild Wars for RPG PvP because it was the greatest of all time, and that game
Yep.
has the same skill depth as WoW, where actually there are more skills per class, but you can only have 8 at a time. You have a
Correct.
bar, you bring 8 at a time, and then you go in. And then it's like one of your skills is like, it's called an elite skill, which is like, you build your rotation around it, and then you can decide how much
Yeah.
utility and spells. And like it's way faster to learn what a class does and what you need to do, and there are like specific roles in that game. And I think that if you when you went into Arena, if you could only bring 8 skills, obviously that's like, again, changing the fundamental what WoW is, but I think that would be way more approachable. Like I mean, that's why I'm kind of wondering, like, maybe Kata or MOP PvP, if it wasn't like dead and everyone botting, could be fun, right? Because there are way less skills in
Yeah.
the older versions of the game.
For me, I actually like WoW PvP, and I arenaed at various points. I arenaed in BFA and Shadowlands pretty extensively. To me, the issue with it is just the barrier to entry in terms of knowledge is just way too high. It's kind of one of those things that like I just found it very difficult, unless I was playing my absolute hardest each and every single season in and season out. It was just hard to play. And then on top of that as well, they introduced solo shuffle. I tried to play solo shuffle a little bit, and then randomly at like 1200 rating, which is like 200 points below what you start at in terms of MMR, I'm just in a 35-minute queue, and I'm just like, this is garbage. I'm not waiting 35 minutes in Dornegal to play 6 rounds of Arena. I'm out of here.
Yeah. It's funny that I mentioned Battlerite and both you were like,
That
"Oh my
game
God, I love
rocked.
that game."
I'm
Battlerite owns.
That game was
Battlerite
really. I'm pretty sure they discontinued that game, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
That game was sweet. I remember like
Yeah.
it was like 2018 or 2019 or something like that. That game was sick.
You know what's actually interesting? It reminded me of like the new game modes that League is doing. Like League has so many heroes, so many champions.
Yeah.
The burden of knowledge of League is also very high, but each champion only has 5 abilities.
Yeah, 4
And that's
abilities. But
kind of,
yeah.
I think,
Well, right, like, okay, imagine, I don't know how much Dota or League you guys have played, but imagine you're playing with a friend who's brand new. He's playing one of those games, and he's up against a hero, right? And he's like, oh no, what does this guy do? Generally speaking, you can explain 99% of the heroes in like 1 or 2 sentences. Like, oh, he's got a stun, and he can jump on you, and
Yeah,
you
it's
his
range,
ult does
melee,
this. Yeah, right. Like,
Proceed.
okay,
Yeah.
now explain what Rogue does. Imagine your friend is like, I'm 1v1ing a rogue in Arena. What do I do? You're like, all right, well, is he Sin? Is he Outlaw? Okay, what's his hero talent tree? Okay, so you gotta, he can sap you, but
MOP Talents?
he can sap you, but you can never break that, because if you use your trinket on the sap, then he's gonna blind you. So the way that you don't get sapped is you stay in combat, but he could go invisible. So you have to be in combat with somebody else while he's invisible, or he's gonna sap you. It's like, bro, WoW is just way too complicated.
I don't think that. I think that WoW PvP is like almost in an unfixable state where the game is really complicated, so Arena is of course just going to be super complicated. I think that's probably
Right. Well, that is the state of PvE, right? And again, to make really high level complicated PvP, which is very fun, that all of us enjoy, that's why we play the game, you need to have these very complex classes and rotations and interactions, right? But it's like, that's not necessarily what makes good PvP, right? Like in Counter-Strike, give one guy an M4 and give the other guy an AK, and it's like, here's a corner, and it's like the most in-depth, crazy shit where like has so much skill expression, you know, where you look at League or Dota and you have 4 buttons and one of them's a passive, so you have 3 buttons, and it's like you could do the craziest plays, and it's like, you know, but that's because it's PvP, and I think that WoW, the complication of WoW is like superseded what you can make in a good PvP game.
All right.
Well, random accidental topic that we were just talking about in our group chat that ended up.
I didn't even realize it was just a group chat topic. I thought it was supposed to be from the pod. It's so funny. All right, what is this video that you got for us this week, Grell?
Hey guys, Cooks here.
Okay, you don't have to play it, but this is my tip of the week / cool thing of the week. There's a guy named Killac. He also does high keys and stuff, but he's like this mega collector YouTuber guy. And so I don't want to credit him, but this is where I saw it. He put together a build of like these random, like very cheap embellishments and items and trinkets and stuff that you can buy in the auction house that scale weirdly in the Mage Tower and probably other low level content too. That you can basically just go into the Mage Tower and just match the 1 button rotation and win on all of them. So if everyone's in a mount collecting mood, we're at the end of the mount farming thing and you didn't get your spell book mount or you didn't get your bear, you can check out this guide. If Tettles will remember, he'll put a link to it. Or you can just search literally 1 button Mage Tower on YouTube. I'm sure it'll pop up. And basically you just like buy a couple items off the auction house. I think you craft like 1 embellishment thing and you can just literally use like a blue item. You don't even need a spark. And then you just run in, you have like infinite leech and infinite verse and you just like, you don't do that much damage, but you just won't die and you just kill everything. And so I had remembered that I never got the bear Mage Tower skin. And just to test this out, I used it and I maybe got knocked off the platform once or twice, but once I stayed on the platform, I did indeed do the challenge with the 1 button rotation.
Is it that Dark Moon Fair trinket? Or not? Yeah.
Yes, I believe it's like
what scales verse weird or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you basically just builds up verse, and when it gets to max stacks, it's just like very good.
Good to know.
That's so crazy, actually.
And it may get fixed, not to FOMO everybody, but I'm assuming that this is something that doesn't last forever. So if you're in the collector mood this month and you're waiting for the patch and you haven't done the Mage Tower, this is probably a good time to do it.
Great, sweet. Any final thoughts?
It's kind of a short episode. We didn't really yap too long.
Yeah.
I think we'll make it.
I
think we'll make it up to the audience next week.
Yeah, maybe we'll do something.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. GG's. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.